Hello, everybody. Welcome to Powerful Impact Podcast. Today we have with us a very special guest, Eloh Kush.
Yo, peace.
Um, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. How you doing today? Thank you for having me on the platform. Appreciate it.
I'm perking right along. I'm telling you, all things considered.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm going to start off with just something for people who don't know you and don't know who you are. Where are you from?
So I'm from New Brunswick, New Jersey. That is
Mm-hmm.
a city on the East Coast in Jersey, like Central Jersey. We're known for a lot of different things. Well, yeah, New Brunswick, New Jersey is what I represent, is where I'm from.
Okay. So, um, how did being from New Brunswick, New Jersey, influence your music?
Um, just in life experiences, a lot of the mentality we was raised with, to travel with a certain type of grit we have in a certain
Mm-hmm.
type of je sais ne quoi about ourselves, just like a certain atmosphere about ourselves to carry ourselves very well, whether it's through music or sports, acting, whatever, because we have a lot of great, deities that's from New Brunswick. Jaheim is from here, the singer.
Mm-hmm.
My man Marquise Moore, he's an actor who stars in Snowfall. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different acting skills from there. There's a lot of various groups there, so it's about a pride situation over here. Not egotistical, but pride, have a lot of self respect and a lot of moxie, I would say. I guess is the way you would say it.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to put it. A lot of moxie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was just looking through. One thing I noticed about the way you write, there is a lot of um, gems you drop. There's so
Mm-hmm.
much knowledge in the way that you write, and I went and looked up some stuff, some background about on you, and I was deeply impressed with your reading list.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So I thought when normally when I go on artist websites, I always see little tidbits, but I think I learned so much more just reading what you read. So,
Yeah,
can you talk about the seven spiritual laws of success?
absolutely. I've had that book in my collection for years, and I thought it was just going to be just a great read and perspective, but it turned out to be a life manual. The Seven
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual Laws of Success is written by Deepak Chopra, and it, it 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 entails how to actually become a better person through realization of experiences. And what do you want to be successful at? Is it is it an economic success, or is it a spiritual, like the book says?
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of my manuals I travel with when I traveled all over the globe with it. So I always have that book somewhere stashed in my luggage when I used to travel a lot.
I think a lot of us read The Art of War.
Hmm.
So how do you use that when you're writing? Because there's a richness to your writing.
Hmm. Um, the Art of War is a strategy book. It's a book
Mm-hmm.
about strategy, and to be strategic in this art form is definitely detrimental to myself because I like to, I consider myself almost like a modern day jazz musician. Um, and sometimes those jewels weren't discovered to 50 years later or 40 years later from when the
Mm-hmm.
actual person. So I strive to plant those seeds in the minds of people, and then when they come across it, when they come across it in their own experiences, they can relate back like, oh, or maybe they haven't and they experienced it already and didn't hear something I say that will further them into my catalog of music. I just strive
Hmm.
to leave a lasting mark on the listener's eardrum.
Yeah. You have a book,
Yeah,
a few days in the country maze,
in the county maze. Yeah, a few
in
days
the
in the
county
county
maze.
maze.
Can you talk about that book?
Absolutely. A few days in the county maze was a collaborative piece of short essays and poems I created with a brother named Will Swink out of the northeastern Maine, Massachusetts area. He's a great artist and illustrator. He did all the actual artwork and illustrations you see in the book. And I wrote it from a perspective of being incarcerated for a small time. Um,
Hmm.
I wrote it through because I wrote it for experiences. As an artist, if I can't create every day, I'm out of it. So I couldn't record, but I could write. So I wrote, just my experiences. I turned whatever was around me into an experience that I wanted to give the people. And if you read the book and you came across the book, you see that it's not actually written in true paragraph form. It's written in like on stationary paper form. And I didn't want
Hmm.
to change any of those experiences, even the grammar. I purposely left the grammar on certain experiences the way it was. I didn't try to correct anything because in that chaos, I wanted to give you that chaos, the best way I can, but also to give
Hmm.
you something to prevent yourself from going there as well too.
Think about being in that space.
Hmm.
How do you reconcile in your mind how you got to that moment?
Oh, I know exactly how I got there. It wasn't any, finger pointing or blaming. It was me versus the beast in the
Hmm.
science of, fighting for everything that I was taught as a youth and also everything I've read from the great martyrs in my life.
Hmm.
And it was a political standpoint where I got incarcerated. It wasn't for
Hmm.
nothing crime. Um, and I look back on the situation, and I only say that I changed nothing about the situation because I couldn't have created the book if I haven't been there, or I wouldn't have be talking about it with you at right now in this experience. But if I could think about some things, I just would have had a little bit more preparation in presenting myself
Hmm.
in the courtroom. Other than that, I love every aspect of it because it taught me something more. I learned from it. If you don't learn from something, then it's a failure or, it doesn't
Yeah.
have any value. But I learned from it. And also, not only did I learn from it, I earned from it.
Hmm.
So it's an experience that it was costly in time because you never get that time back, but
Yeah.
it was beneficial to my creative side. I tapped into a different creative side I had inside of me. But I was just touring so much and moving around. I never really sat down and finished an actual piece of literature in creation all
Hmm.
the way through. So I did it with this.
Growing up in New Jersey, what song was it that made you fall in love with hip hop?
What song?
Hmm.
Um, I would say, well, there's two. Well, there's many, but there are two. Like
Hmm.
the actual that turned me out to hip hop was
Hmm.
there's a brother named DJ Cheese from Plainfield, New Jersey,
Hmm.
and he had this record. Is the first time I've seen neighborhoods because New Brunswick and Plainfield in those days they clashed a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so his record was universal through all the different neighborhoods in New Brunswick and all over. Cheese had a record called "Set It Off." It wasn't any lyrics; it was just a ill beat, and he was cutting on
Hmm.
there. But the actual, so that was one that was amazement for the block parties from where I was from and different sciences like that. But the first song that caught my ear, uh, I want to say Public Enemy,
Hmm.
"Show 'em What You Got." Public Enemy. and Tragedy Gaddafi Arrest the President. Intelligent Hoodlum, rather, he was called then.
Oh, I love that you mentioned Tragedy Gaddafi.
Yeah,
We don't get that name often, but man, he's been putting out some work, hasn't he?
yeah. Yes, he's one of the architects. And I slightly, if you listen, you ever hear a singer like these in our generation now, and they say, "Oh, Marvin Gaye," or Minnie Riperton, or this person is my favorite artist, but you can't hear it
Mm-hmm.
you can't hear a trace of it in their music and singing. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
you listen to my music, you can understand that the mold I come from is that Intelligent Hoodlum, Chuck D, Wise
Mm-hmm.
Intelligent, Brother J of the Mighty X Clan. You know what I'm saying? KRS-One, like you hear sprinkles of that in my music as a tribute to them.
So, what solidified the what solidified in your mind when you listen to those artists that this was the kind of um, music and art that you wanted to represent yourself?
Um, I think, well, instantaneously when you ask that, the first thing that comes to my mind is substance,
Mm-hmm.
substance and rebellion, and the scariness of it, because hip hop originally, well, the emceeing part of hip hop is supposed to scare the shit out of you. It's supposed to be something that it's the CNN of the streets. It's the hieroglyphics of the streets. And the message needs to be relatable, but also needs to be able to give you a stark reality of where we're coming from. I mean, hip hop in its whole is a art form come from poverty, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And in poverty, it's not always sunny, man. It's raining a lot more than it's sun, but we make
Yeah.
it look sunny. We give it, we transform hell to right in that science. So yeah, that's what it is. Substance and the scariness of it and the rebellion form of it.
You listed some of your influences. How did they? Okay, let's take a tragedy Gaddafi.
Okay.
When you heard his music for the first time, what was that feeling? What was that feeling like? Because so often you hear people who talk about the music that they listen to, and their lives are complete opposites
Correct to what's going on.
to what they're listening to. So, what about tragedy Gaddafi that moved you?
Um, at that time, I'm always been into literature. I've always been
Mm-hmm.
a heavy reader, so the things he was saying was relatable. It was like a voice. It was like your own voice, but it was outside of you, and somebody else was saying some of those things. Just the
Mm-hmm.
mind, like arrest the president. Like damn. When you really think about the why in the situation and how he's articulating why we should be arresting the president, and then you look around your neighborhood with the same sight, and you see, oh, like this isn't coincidental. All these different booby traps, invisible and visible, that's set for us. And I just think that, well, I know that it was just a sound that was supposed to catch my eardrum, in the fact that, look, there's harsh realities that need to be spoken about. And if you got the moxie, or if you got the actual, intelligence and the facts to back up what you're indicating, then you should
Mm-hmm.
push forward and spread the message, you know?
So let's kind of talk about that reality, because I think there is a blurred line sometimes in what artists are putting out and the reality of the streets,
Correct.
because I listen to a lot of this music and I'm like, nobody's doing that. What are they talking about? Right?
Correct.
No, nobody is blinging like that in the club in the hood unless you want to come out with all your jewels and you laying on the ground in the middle of the parking lot.
Right.
So I sit and I listen to some of this stuff and I'm finding it. I really want artists like yourself to break through because there's a reality in your music.
Hmm.
And one of the one of the songs that actually it was the intro, God's Molecule.
Hmm.
Can you talk about that? Because I think so often that people they hear um they hear passages or they hear stories, but they never actually dive deep and understand. So can you kind of explain that intro for me?
Yeah, Doctor. I'm forgetting his name right off the tongue, and I apologize about that. Doctor Ali. I forgot his last name, but it escaped me. But I know the God molecule he's talking in reference to is the Kundalini within yourself, the special gene that you have that makes you that makes you divine in the physical aspect of it as well as in the mental and the spiritual. That God
Mm-hmm.
molecule you tap into, whether it's in your character, your behavior, your speech, your ways and actions. You have to tap into it. It doesn't always go off or so it's not always present from the gate. Sometimes there's a DNA explosion that takes place where it brings you to that God molecule when you through your learning and your experiences. And I just wanted people to understand that we have that gene within um, and that gene is always present, even in the worst circumstance. You just have to tap into it and bring it out. Bring that black oil, that black gold out of your soul, and bring it forth and help you to guide you through any type of hurdle or different tragedy or whatever. It doesn't have to be a tragedy or hurdle. It could be in the best of times and it just activates even more. So that's what that's about.
You have a another song called Alexander Pushkin that I love
Thank you.
because it made me think. It made me think because of it was so it talked about Russian tales.
Hmm.
And in hearing the opening to that song, all of a sudden it made me think of being black in America and how um, so many of those stories that were a part of who we are were lost or
Correct.
actually stolen.
Correct.
Um, when you think about, because I think a lot about culture and the lack thereof or the missing parts. So when you make a song like Alexander Pushkin, what what um what thoughts are resonating in your head when you make this song? Because I know what resonated in mine, but what came to you when you put this song together?
Um, okay, so the production was done. This is from the album, my last release called The Live from the Whirlwind. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
collaborative effort with a young Jedi, a young producer from California named Clipto. When Clipto sent me the beat, I heard the harmonizing of it. It sounded like some Russian love like a lullaby or something. It just put me in my
Mm-hmm.
mindset of being in Russia, Moscow. So I wrote the lyrics before I actually named it. And then when I was coming to the end of it, I said, "Wow, this sounds like what can I make it relatable to the sound of the beat and the song
Mhm.
title. And that's when I thought about Alexander Pushkin. And I thought it was important that people, even if they don't understand what the title means, that it hopefully sparks something to put them on a journey to go find out who is Alexander Pushkin and to
Mhm.
find out what he is and how he's a great poet. Original man is a poet in Russia, one of the greatest poets ever. So I
Mhm.
thought I thought that I thought that was very important. I thought it was very important. Even the name title. I think the name title to me is more important than the things I was actually saying.
So album is the album title a quote inspired by Marcus Garvey, "Find Me in the Whirlwind," or what
Um,
inspired the album title?
that's a good reference right there because it is, but it I didn't think of it like that. I thought of it from, and I've read that before and heard that quote before, but I think the title itself comes from my experiences in life over the last year or so. Um, a whirlwind is like a constant spin of things that's occurring.
Mhm.
It could be, and you always have to be ready for whatever's happening, and it's consistently this or that or that or this is happening in your life. And I just, I just wanted to name it. I wanted to give the title something that was dealing with the now that I was dealing with. It wasn't an elongated experience, and
Mhm.
I was just hoping that you can hear it in my music in this particular presentation, that you could hear that I was in the whirlwind personally, spiritually, you know, physically, mentally. It was just a lot going on, and not
Mhm.
that a lot going on wasn't always bad. If you can hear it, it was just, sometimes I might drift back into experience I had in the early 90s and then push it together with what was happening in 2020, 2021. So just being creative.
Yeah. So we've been in this whirlwind of a pandemic for the
Correct.
past couple of years.
Correct.
How has that affected you as an artist?
um it made me, well, as an artist, it gave me plenty to talk about. At first, there's plenty to talk about. I mean, well, I've always talked about this moment in my music if you go backwards. um but it's also given me more space for creativity since I can't tour, since I can't really get on stage. um
Mhm.
it gives me more it gives me more focus on the completion of the sentence when I'm creating, to give you more, to give it more detailed expression. Hopefully that's, the listener, because what all we can do is listen right now, correct?
Mhm.
And so hopefully it's giving the listener an earful, a plate that's like, all right, this ain't microwave, this is in the oven. This ain't on top of the stove macaroni cheese. This is baked macaroni cheese in the oven. Peach cobbler in the oven. Let me take my time with it.
Mhm.
And that's the way I see it.
Um, the pictures that you're painting in, because it this was an album that I listened to, but I visually saw.
Mm,
So when you have the opening, when you have the opening song, the intro, God's molecule.
hmm.
Um, you you talk about uh, DNA,
Correct.
and how, when you say that, you said earlier that there is an explosion of DNA. Can you elaborate on that?
Just the time, just it's sort of almost like puberty. It's a time that,
Mm-hmm.
when you're supposed to grow into a next degree of self physically. Same thing with the DNA explosion. It's symbolic of the same things. Like, okay, it's time for you to be. It's just a form of maturation, spiritually and mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that DNA explosion, you start to see things in a different with different sight. You start to think differently, start to eat differently, a whole bunch of different things like that that matters to yourself. And that's why I was really kicking up at. It's time
So,
for that DNA explosion.
oh yeah. So you see, you had specific features on this album, um,
Correct.
and it wasn't a lot of features, and I appreciated that because I really got a depth of who understanding of you as an artist through this album.
Mm.
But when you sat back and thought about the people you wanted to collaborate with, um, what made you pick uh, these three particular artists?
Well, so Jabatan and Giffy the God are f- members of a group, Angels Inc., which I'm a part
Mm-hmm,
of. So it's natural just to create music with them. It's like, but it wasn't forced. It's just organic. It was just an
mm-hmm,
organic state of creativity. I heard a certain beat and I thought they would sound excellent on it. Just knowing when to push the pin. Because I can fill up an album myself with subject matter, but I like to also just add on with different perspectives, but with the same principles, different
mm-hmm,
voice. My man Supreme Cerebral, that's my comrade. We in a group called Clock Connoisseurs, and we always fit together. He's from the West Coast, but we
mm-hmm.
just have a good chemistry, and that's what all of us. We have a great chemistry. Chemistry is very important in creativity. It doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't sound forced. It sounds like
Mm-hmm.
okay, you know, that was the moment that that person was supposed to be in there. So I channeled that, and it's just organic. It seems like when you ask the question, it could be possibly like it's some type of far fetched or even strenuous thing to make happen, but it's just as natural as blinking to me to create with brothers that I'm aligned with, to have that same DNA explosion.
Yeah. So speaking of Clark connoisseurs, y'all had a song called "Rock Candy" with Planet Asia, which I
Yeah,
love. How
thank
did
you.
that come about?
Same science, same natural organics.
Mm-hmm,
Asia's from the West Coast. Big Preem's from the West Coast. I know Asia for years. Preem known, we just got together and creativity was like, yo, who will sound ill on this? You know? And Asia heard it and he was like, yeah, I'm on this. So it was natural. It was really, I really wish there was some big story behind it, but it's not. We just very cool and A alike, B alike, C alike, and we just got
yeah,
busy. You could see, you could hear it in the song. It's not like,
you can.
you know, it just flowed the way it did.
You can hear it in the song. I really love that song. And
Yeah, did you?
I'm a fan of Planet Asia. I often thought that he doesn't get the props and the credit he deserves because his
Yeah,
music
Asia.
is divine, and he's still putting out music at a level that has not dropped in
Yes.
since he came out.
Yeah, stellar rate of Asia is one of the your comrades and your contemporaries in this art form. You look at and you say, yeah, that brother's definitely ill. Not only is he my people's, but I'm also a fan of his work. So it's really great to not only work with someone you're a fan of, but just good peoples. So it's dope. He's dope. It's definitely dope.
So, you had another collaboration with John Robinson.
Hmm.
How did that happen? Because I think John Robinson is so dope. And he's another one, that doesn't the amount of work that he puts out, and at the same time it's I always think that he doesn't get the props he deserves. So how did that collaboration happen?
Which particular one? Are you talking about the whole project we have
The
together,
whole
or just
project.
oh, that's just a buildup of another natural organic situation. I mean, we've known each other for over what 30 years,
Oh
30 years
wow.
now. Yeah, so we it's just that's extremely organic and natural. That's just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, doing songs, we toured all over the globe together. So it's like, all right, we got all this music together. Let's package it and put it out for the people. The name of the project you're referring to is called Ebony Ronin,
Mm-hmm.
where he produced the whole project, and I got busy all over there. So yeah, that's one of my favorite projects too. I think that went underneath a lot of, it made a lot of noise, but I feel like I feel like a lot of people didn't really get it yet, and
Yeah.
that's not on me. That's on them to have an understanding of. My job is to create hanging on the wall and keep pushing.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time, most
Yeah.
definitely. How did y'all originally meet?
Uh, in my city, there's a spot called. There used to be this spot called US1 Flea Market,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a hub where you can go get all your fly gear, different things. There'd be so many people coming in from different cities to this one spot to get everything. We met actually battling each other in the bathroom right at US1 Flea
Wow.
Market, like battling, different crews battling, and then seeing that we were, after we battled so much, we rhymed from those scenes, that it turned into love, and we've been comrades ever since then.
Who won the battle?
Well, no, I don't know, because it was so many. It wasn't just him and I battling. It was crews. It was our crew and his crew and whoever. It was just sword swinging. I can't.
Mhm.
It's like a good fight. It's like a good fist fight. You ain't get knocked out. You might got a little blood right here and couple. But you gave what you got too, though.
I miss those battles. I miss the ones that just you break out for any reason
Any
whatsoever,
reason,
and we would be entertained for hours, just
just on the
just
word wizardry.
spontaneously.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I mean, that was the days. I mean, you had to if you called yourself an MC, you had to show and prove at any given time and every given time. So it happened.
So who's some of the artists you're listening to besides yourself right now?
Right now,
Mm-hmm.
um, today I listen to La the Dark Man. I listen
Mm-hmm.
to J Electronica today. I listen to Pat Benatar today. Um, I listened to who was I listening? Dizzy Gillespie earlier, and then I listened to who else was I listening to today? I listened to Mobb Deep. That's what I listened to.
Mm-hmm.
So my
How
my
important do you how important do you think it is for an artist to have musical influences outside of hip hop?
extremely, but it depends. It depends on the person. Maybe their palate is not fit for anything outside of hip hop yet. You haven't grown to that. But for me, it's detrimental. I gotta listen. I don't listen to anyone else to get motivated in recording, as far as in hip hop, because I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
sound like them. However, I listen to other music to get motivated to create hip hop, if that makes sense. Like,
Yes.
I'm a jazz connoisseur. I love jazz, blues, jazz. I love the sciences that it takes to do
Mm-hmm.
that. Also, I like I'm just a connoisseur of music. I love music, period. Like I
Mm-hmm.
love, so it doesn't really, I'm not really stuck in one school of thought. Hip hop is what I live, and hip hop is what I contribute and what I do for the culture. But it's not, rap isn't the, or MCing isn't the only aspect of it, for me that motivates me.
I get that. It has been one of the delights of growing up in the era that I grew up in, because
Hmm.
everything wasn't so the music wasn't so completely segregated. And so
Correct.
we were influenced by just as much rock and roll and just as much jazz and just as much rhythm and blues, just the real soulful blues. And um we got a lot of country because I'm from Texas. And you
Hmm.
know, it our palettes were always was always wide. We could always. My mom used to say that it's important to listen to everything, because no matter where you go, you can make yourself at home.
Absolutely. And I like to say, because of that, we learned to a certain degree. If I never traveled to Texas, UGK, Ghetto Boys, Scarface, they taught me about Texas in the hieroglyphic form, like, just the
Mm-hmm.
way they live. Even though I'm from this side of on the wild side of things over here, I'm learning about the wild side of things, or the cultural part of things in Texas as well. And that's what the art form is missing today, because a lot of things sound mishmashed. Like you can't tell where a person is from anymore. It's like it's all
Exactly.
like where are you from? Oh, you from here? Wow, you sound like you from. Oh, that's because you're not being original. That's why. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
so. Oh man, it's
Yeah,
talking.
we really lost. I think it's a lot lost in that, because um, it was wonderful to know who I could just listen to NWA and I knew where they were from. I could
Absolutely.
I could listen to only person that threw me off was Premier, because
Yeah. Premier's from
I
Texas.
knew where he was from, but he
Right.
sounded nothing like Texas.
You sound like New York.
Yeah, he's not. But I guess because when he's my age, so when we were growing up, the only reference we had the only reference we had was New York.
Right.
So who else were you going to emulate?
Right. I mean, that's fair. That's real. I'm
All right, so brother Eloh Kush,
yeah. Peace.
when we talk about peace, when we talk about oh, if you notice the outfits changed, that folks, this is due to technical difficulties, we had to continue whichever way, but here we are back in the flesh.
We're here.
Um, they can't stop us. They can't stop us. Um, when it comes to like your work, we were talking about other collabos with Planet Asia, this and that. Everybody on this podcast and other podcasts I've been on knows that blue is one of my favorite colors. So I know this is
Yeah.
to highlight you, but I just want to know, what's the working relationship like with Blue? How did y'all two meet? What's your favorite song with him? Things like that.
Um. Met Blue when we was when Cy and I was in, well, y'all call him JR, but Lil Cy, when me and Cy was in California working on our collaborative album that we had together called Ebony Ronin, with JR John Robinson produced the whole album, and I'm rhyming on the album. That's a part of my catalog called Ebony Ronin. We were in California recording that album, and we went to Blue's actual house because him and JR, getting the beginnings of their project that came out. We met and we hit it off very well. We, just talking and just understanding that we were alikes on a lot of different things. And so we did start working on something while we was in California, but mostly it's been phone calls, them blues like, yo, what's up? Yo, I got this, bang, bang, bang. I heard 2 beats from the album. I jumped on those beats. JR alley-ooped me on there, my comrade for alley-oop. And then actually Blues called me for different projects that he's got going on. The one I'm on right now is not for sale or sell. Him and Surplus put a project out as of recently.
Yeah, for
Surplus,
sale. Fire.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on that album. I'm on that album as well. He called me out for that. And then him and Knox have an album. Producer Knox have an album, and I did a joint for that, and then I did some other work for him. So
The
we have
narrative.
a, yeah, we have a great project. We have a great rapport. We have a great rapport together. We don't talk every day, but when we talk, we build extensively, and then so it's like an open portal. Like when I need him for something, he's there. He need me for something, I'm there. So that's how it go. Camaraderie in the music.
Please tell that brother I'm putting the message in the bottle whenever you talk to him. There's this little podcast called Powaful Impact on the
Yeah,
East, West, South, and they would really like you to be on this show. So if anytime you plug it, please let him know
I
that we
will.
want him on. He's my favorite MC of the
I
last
will.
decade. That is a
I will. I
fact.
will.
Yeah,
Word
and
up.
if
Salute the
y'all ever
blue.
work together, anytime y'all work together, and y'all dropping something, please make an appearance because I would love to see him come through.
Absolutely. Salute the blue.
Yeah,
Shoot
man.
your shot, Mayor.
Oh, pause. That's funny. Anyway, that's hilarious. So now you threw me off, way off what I was going to ask. Oh, in your, I killed them. One sec. Hold on. All right, in your music, right, Elo? In your music. I hear like many. I don't want to say many, multiple spiritual references, and I hear
Mhm.
almost like a little bit of. I don't. I said this. I kind of asked General Steele this question because it's similar. There's something in your thing that's similar to that. Um, I hear like a little bit of 5%. Um, I don't know what else. Pan Africanism. Uh, I don't say Dr. York, but a little bit of that. And so it's like
Definitely.
I hear a lot of pieces of whatever. And I guess I'm curious. I don't want to put you in a box, but I was just wondering, what is your spiritual walk or culture? What is like the one walk you have or different face that you have? Because I hear it all throughout your music.
All the above. There's many rooms in my father's mansion. My spiritual walk is 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 just seeking knowledge from the cradle to the grave in any thought school that I'm in. So all the above that you listed is right and exact. The culture is I God. You know what I'm saying? And yes, Pan Africanism. And yes, Dr. York, absolutely. All the above is part of my makeup. Noble Drew Ali, the Honorable Noble Drew Ali, you know what I'm saying? Or just straight teachings from Matulu Shakur or whatever, just reading. I'm addicted to knowledge and music. So there isn't one set thought school where I'm boxed in to say, oh, I'm only this. That's not how I am.
Because a lot of
Oh,
people base. Oh, well, sorry. Go.
no, I was just saying, just to put an explanation
Oh, you
on it.
said the all. Okay. I thought you said all.
Oh,
All right, the all. Yes, that's the name of the Smith ones. Yeah, the all. That's funny. The all.
absolutely. Salute
Um.
General still in tech too.
Yeah. Salute, General. Yeah. Salute, man. Cocoa Brothers all day. Duck Down all day. That's family. Yeah.
Word,
That's what
word.
we got inspired by them. Obviously, with the powerful impact. Boom. Another thing, like people tend to go on appearance, right? So when somebody sees you and they're like, wait, a man have dreadlocks, must be a
Mhm,
Rastafarian, you know what I mean? Or
mhm,
must be West Indian. So
mhm.
I should even throw that in there. Do you believe in the like some people say that the hair is the antennas and things like that and helps pick up frequencies and this and that? Do you feel that Samson, like do you feel that there's power in the hair and that aesthetic for
Absolutely,
you?
absolutely.
Can
I
you
don't
explain
believe
that and
in it.
break that? Yeah, could you
I
break
don't
that down for
believe in
people?
it. I don't necessarily believe in it. I have factology in it, meaning the study of facts.
Hold on
The,
one
the
second. My Rastafarian uncle, he says he's Rastafarian. He said, "Me no believe, me know. Belief is for
exactly,
fearful." Him say, "If you know myself."
exactly,
So I like that,
exactly.
Elo. I like that. Bless,
Know
bless. All right, go
thyself,
on.
you know thyself. Like you gotta the ether, your hair is the antenna to the sun. You know what I'm saying? We children of the sun, and our hair is the only hair on the planet that could defy gravity in any way we want it to go. We can go left, and the Gumby can go straight up. It could twist out and be extension of your thoughts, and it could do whatever it wants. Because we are those people. We defy gravity with our crowns. Specifically for me, mine's come from a heritage and culture aspect. Dealing with my Native American side too, where it shows vitality in your head, shows its own prestige for your head. So that's where it usually goes to for that as well.
Do you know? Yeah, I don't even like asking like this, but which tribe your heritage is from in that native peoples?
Absolutely. Creek, Wichita, and Seminoles, Georgia, Florida, that area over there.
Tough, tough. And I know
Well,
there's probably some maroon in you too. You might have a little bit of the
absolutely.
maroons.
Absolutely.
And Nanny from the maroons. Them. Shout
Absolutely.
out to that. Salute. You want to speak on that
That's
at
where that
all? Anything?
that's where the warrior spirits come from. A lot of different angles, like, and that's why the question, previously to that is like you can't be boxed in because once you find out, once you know thyself and know who you are, you go on the journey and then you trace your ancestry back to whatever. So it's not just boxed in one thing. You're going through many thought schools in this house of life. So I can go from one room to one room to one room, come back to that room. As long as I'm progressive in my learning and progressive in my teaching.
The man sound like he's rolling with the 144, 12 tribes, 12
Absolutely.
disciples. Oh my,
Absolutely.
Eloh Kush, man, you're deep, brethren. They say, silent river run deep, man, you're deep, brethren.
Absolutely.
I respect it. Remind me like
Absolutely.
Sizzla Kalonji and some of them, artists. I don't know if you're familiar with reggae like that or whatever, but
Absolutely. Come on,
remind me of
man.
them type of, yeah.
Come on, man.
I
This
asked
is this is
Sizzler, I asked Sizzler on the phone, like, yo, what's up? He said, now go on hold the current. And I'm like, you're holding the
exactly.
current? Wait, what? This is like
Exactly.
when I'm 19 and my mind is like blown away. Like, what is he talking? People like, yeah, I'm good. I'm chilling. He said, nah, man, I go on hold the current. And I'm like, okay.
Exactly.
You know how many different ways you could take that? The water, the electricity, the wind. Like,
But
yo,
it's that's what sound is in speech and delivery. It's about delivering the prophetic message at the time. You probably call him in a spiritual place one time. You don't never know when someone's at when you ask that, and then boom.
yeah, he was in the studio and he was, I mean, this is like 98, 99. Like he's running hot. This is before he even like really, really bust. But that's all he said on the phone. I was doing my homework. Pop called me and said, I have one of your favorite artists, right? I'm like, yeah, right. Who? He puts him on the phone. I was like, get out of here. And that's all I
Mm,
asked me. Just say, yeah, man, now go on with the current. So
mm,
so Elo Kush, man, you say you're in the whirlwind. I guess, and then we were talking about off air. We were talking about Marcus Garvey, Why can't I speak right now? What is wrong with me? The philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey in that book, right?
yeah, yeah,
How are you staying centered in the whirlwind and holding the current in these times? Pandemic, pandemic, whatever they want to call it.
right.
How are you staying
Um,
centered and governed?
Knowing thyself, what I'm saying, and knowing what we was taught that this time is not surprising at all. How prepared I was for this time, knowing that this time was going to arrive, is a whole different science. But I'm striving like every day as an artist, to perform, and my bread and butter is to get on stage and perform. Is how I make. You just have to adjust your way of flow of income, your spirituality. If you know thyself and you cool, you don't need you don't need to be gathered all the time. This is the best time to work on thyself, to find progression, tap into that kundalini within yourself and bring out that best part of you. And that's where I'm at with it. I have my up and down days about what we used to be able to do and what I typical whatever. But I've been elevated as a creative through this whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really honing my skills to a next degree of self. So everything is totally calculated. It's not just like I'm planning on going to New York today, and then whatever I have going on in the city, anything else is a bonus. Before that's how it was. Now it's like, yo, if I'm going here, I'm going A, B, C, and back. You know what I'm saying? With calculated moves. So just more strategic, but I'm on deck for the bang out, whatever way.
I like that. I respect that. And continuing on like that currency talk that I was talking about, electricity. You speaking about going back on stage. What is that like for a person who's never performed or doesn't understand? Whether it's the big crowd, a small crowd. What is that like? That transfer of energy, call and response. What does that do to you, and how does that feel to you on a physical and
For me,
spiritual
for
plane?
me, for me, initially, it's like you know, you know, that moment before you get into a fight, like a fist fight, like that. You ain't scared, but it's like something right here.
A
It's like
little
something that
butterfly,
not even butterflies is like almost anticipating. Like you rather just get up there and square up and just get it on, stop
like
talking, and
like
just
antsy.
right. But it's also to me, it's like you said, it's a transfer of energy. Whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, you got to give that 10,000 people energy. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to touch, especially if your records are not known, and the energy and the way you display articulation, it comes into the craft of being an MC, surely. And that's what really matters. I mean, the stage is my love. You know what I'm saying? It's the ultimate expression of what you wrote and what you recorded. You can always play with it in any different way. And that's something I truly miss. I truly miss getting on stage. And so that is part of the process that I miss in creativity. Knowing, before it's like it was like it was knowledge, wisdom, understanding. It was completion of cipher. It was think it, say it, do it. You know what I'm saying? Like so it was like think of the rhyme, write the rhyme, say the rhyme, and then go perform the rhyme, and that's part of the completion. But it is what it is right now.
And make the word become flesh and
Word is bond.
manifest.
Word up. That's truth.
This is a hip hop. This is a hip hop show, sort of, kind of. We delve into a lot of stuff, but
Yes.
what was it that made you fall in love with hip hop? And
Um,
what does hip hop mean to you?
Hip hop is my culture. Hip hop is my way of life. Hip hop is everything that I do. I know the question is rhetorical, but it's like everything you do, from the way I answer the question, the way I hold my posture, the way I seek and respect sound, creativity, and hip hop. I like hip hop from the gate for me, especially the MCing part of hip hop, because it scared the shit out of people originally. Scared, excuse my language, but it scared people that didn't understand the culture of the youth, of poverty, of it's not like, he's like, yo, I wonder what I'm gonna do when the lights is off. It's like at the time it's like, yo, the lights are off. You understand? And this is why I feel like this. This is why this. It was and that was what was going on in the South Bronx, or whether it was going on in Texas, or whether it was going on in LA or Jersey. It was hieroglyphics. It was the CNN of the streets. You know what I'm saying? And I truly I liked it. I liked the actual expression of art, the poetry. You know what I'm saying? Like I like the poetry of
Mhm.
like being able to like Clifford like Clifford Brown said, like you'd be able to bend chaos, sound into chaos, take it out of nowhere and make it something. I love that art. plus the breakdancing, plus the DJing, the actual DNA, what's in our DNA to do hieroglyphics and paintings is graffiti and knowledge. And knowledge is the foundation of all things in existence. So yeah, I love the culture. Like it gave me everything. Through every moment I had in my life, and from being a local youth to maturity right now, hip hop has been the theme music all the way through there. Plus other music, but hip hop has always been. You know what I'm saying?
Who are some of the MCs that inspired you from New Jersey?
From Jersey, uh, well, initially, of course, Wise Intelligent, Tretch, Lauryn Hill, Queen Latifah. But growing up where I was at, it was brothers like Fava Bean, like who I actually got to see MC, Fava
Mm-hmm.
Bean, Fahim, JC Live. These are all local, and from where I'm from, who I've seen in the parks or seen some in some form of fashion getting busy.
Mm-hmm.
These brothers showed me that it's possible. I like the command. I've always been an orator, you know what I'm saying? But I like the command of having you give me 10 seconds. And if I got them 10 seconds, then I got you.
Who are the name of the show is Powerful Impact. So who are three people who were a powerful impact in your life, either personally or professionally, and
Mm,
why?
mm. It's a good question. I'm influenced by so many. This it's kind of hard to. Um, I'm really stumped because I have so many names in my head. Um, Personally, I will say my family. If I could say my family in one, all of them as a one person in
Mm-hmm.
some different way and fashion. My uncles taught me jazz, gave me reading materials. My aunts gave me reading materials. My sisters, my mother, you know what I'm saying? Father teaching us about culture, how he was, whatever. Um, then I'm influenced by everything that has creativity, if it makes sense, like movie producers, movies, great actors. Uh, can I just say the arts period? The
Mm-hmm.
arts, just the arts
Yeah.
period. I'm trying to gather one name and not be biased and say, "Oh, this is the most important person," but that's not true. I'm a bowl of different influences that build me up to right now. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so today, all right, I'll just say today, I'm influenced by Nietzsche, by Friedrich Nietzsche. You know what I'm saying? Like today
Mm-hmm.
I am. But yesterday, I was influenced by Don Cheetah. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, so
So it's just when you have so much that comes into your life that's so um
it's hard to pinpoint. Yeah,
powerful and impactful that
yeah.
it's hard to just
Say one thing. Like this
yeah,
person, it's not, it can't be like that for me. It
yeah.
can't, you know? I
This
just like
makes
perseverance. Perseverance, perseverance and purpose in your music or your path is the most powerful impact. Once you find that purpose and you walk in that purpose, I'll just say that's the most powerful impact. Those who do that.
boom. Yo, that's real because then the passion comes, right? Then
Absolutely.
the definition comes, then the mission comes, then the clarity
Absolutely.
comes, then the
Absolutely. All
discipline
that.
comes,
On the way to finding your purpose. That's all on that road.
then the
Character,
fulfillment comes,
perseverance. Yeah, man.
contentment,
That's
legacy.
that's where I'm at. That's
It's
exactly my mind state right now.
That's
Every single
real.
day in creating something. You know.
That's real. What I think we asked this the last, but I don't know.
As what
Oh no,
really
sorry.
as a matter of fact, Brother Jay
Yeah.
spoke so eloquently about walking your path and not being diverted from it. And
Absolutely.
because we were talking about how does why do you think that so many artists divert from their original purpose and then reach for reach for the bag? You know what I mean? And
Um,
divert their path.
I think. I mean,
And follow trends.
me,
Mhm,
yes and no. Yeah, I think that it's about what you set your mind to. I mean, no one wants to be impoverished. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're
mhm,
an artist or whatever's going on, but I think, well, I know the only constant in this world is change. So you can
mhm,
initially you either invoke the change or you change by that change, right? So you either, the person can be on the way to saying this, but then like if someone's putting $350,000 in your face or $1 million in your face or even 25,000 and your family is hungry, like you may have to sacrifice, and that's what this is about. But it's about what you're willing to sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? And for how long?
mhm.
I can understand, inside you're this, but the greatest example I would say is the spook who sat beside the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, get in, but make sure you have you learn you learn what this is about and how this operates and tell your people how this really goes and then change the narrative from the inside out. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm not
That's
saying that I would do that, but I necessarily would definitely um, be aware of all things that can help myself and my family. And this is what I'm in it for, to create, leave a legacy, and also, provide for the family.
so. So, as not as an artist or anything, but as a man, what do you want to be remembered for?
Mm, mm. Integrity, um, definitely a person who walked the razor's edge and didn't leave the planet with shoulda, coulda, woulda in my mouth. You know, I, wa-
Mhm,
I went out whatever way I came out, and when this I return wherever what I'm saying my spirit leaves this body. I went out without any type of doubt about what my purpose was. You know,
yeah.
That sound like it sound like you're quoting the Honorable Peter Winston McIntosh, Step and Razor.
yeah, brother, yeah, brother,
I like that. I
legalize
like
it,
that.
legalize it.
Salute. He said a Step and Razor, one of my favorite tunes. That's tough.
Hmm.
Now, as an
Absolutely.
artist, what do you want your legacy to be?
Mm. Um, I think I think in that aspect, my legacy is already set, and it's up to the actual consumer and people who listen to define my legacy. You know what I'm saying? It's not for
Mhm,
me to say I'm it's for the people to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever they perceive it is. I'm just painting. I'm painting and I'm getting this out of myself, exporting the thoughts that I have and just a creative, like there's a million
mhm,
creative. Am I special? Yes. But am I the one and only? Nah, we all within the all. When somebody, it's just like, I guess it's like when you ask, like, you ask Max Roach, like, what is your legacy? He's like, yo, or Sonny Rollins, who's still living, like, like, yo, I need to play, I need to just play. And what they perceive it is that's what their legacy is, that note that night could be the legacy or the album from 2 hours. It's hard to really define that. I think it's on the people to define my legacy in music, not personally, but in music.
mhm. What advice would you have given to yourself knowing all the stuff that you know now, what advice would you have given to yourself when you first started out?
Musically or personally?
Both.
Shit. I wouldn't change. Oh, you said not. You didn't say change. You said advice. I would advise myself to. I will advise myself to be more entrenched in actually not putting others first. You know what I'm saying? Like I was always about making sure a lot of other people were correct in this business before I was correct.
Mm-hmm.
In groups and stuff like that. I was advised myself not to always go 40, 30 deep to places, you know what I'm saying, to perform and just go move with a queen on your arm rather than 50 people. But I mean, there were certain times that we had to move like that, I guess. I would advise myself to be, uh, don't take, I don't think I take anything for granted, but be more working, like the working part of this stuff. Like, don't say, oh, I'll finish this tomorrow. Just do it now and get it done. You know what I'm saying? But that's the advice I would give myself. Just stay on the path. Keep going, bro. Keep growing. I'm sure there's parts I can't remember of things that occurred that I'll be like, yo, you shouldn't went here that night because this wouldn't happen or that wouldn't happen. I can't remember all the way. But just stay golden. That's it. Advise myself to stay on the path. Don't be so hard on yourself.
And get out of your own way.
Absolutely.
Brother Elo, I have like a couple questions. Let me just ask them one at a time.
Okay.
Where do you think your curiosity comes from? This like you have a serious appetite, it seems, for knowledge and things around you. Where do you think that comes from? Not everybody has that. And it doesn't seem
Um,
like it could be satisfied easily either.
nah, I'm consistently reading. My mother, my uncles, you know, my auntie, rest her soul, Andali. We used to get these books, like those men, those big, like those funny love novels and stuff like that. Like when you're checking out of like the food store and stuff
Yeah, the
like that.
romance joints. Yeah, that lady
Yeah,
passed. One of like the leading ladies that wrote those. I think she passed away a couple years ago recently. I forgot her name. Diane something. She was like the number one author.
got the name of it. Those novels, the
Romance
movie,
novels.
yeah, Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. I read that, and actual my big cousin Joey, he gave me a lot of Marvel comics that express my, you know, reading. Believe it or not, reading comic books is a really high level of reading at a young age because you have to articulate, you have to so many different characters and their moods and understand things. The pictures help, but the writing was good. Um,
And the
the
storylines. And
storyline,
then,
absolutely.
yeah, and then there's also your imagination and creativity has to come in because you're kind of filling in the blanks from those little, what do you call them, stills. You kind of have your
Yeah,
imagination filling
yeah.
it in too.
You
So
got to hear it.
definitely strength.
Yeah,
Exactly. There you go. There you
you
go.
got to hear the
See what
different
you got.
voices. Conan books, like just all types of lit. I've been addicted to knowledge since
X-Men is
very
my
young.
joint.
I've read a lot of books, man. Like I've read a lot of books. I mean, so it was like surprising to see the Lord of the Rings was actually the Hobbit series that I read as a child. And then to let my imagination go, then to actually see what it looks like. That I was close to, imagining what the director came up with the development of the characters there. So that sparked my curiosity.
No, obviously, I'm just meeting you for the first time here, and all I know is your music. But I get the vibe, and you said it before about following your passion, right? And I think I don't maybe, yeah, very few men of color are given permission, right, or give themselves permission to figure out their path or find themselves. For you, what does freedom mean to you? First question, and liberation to you. And then the second one is like, what is success to you?
Mm. Freedom is freedom is the first law of nature. The second law of nature is self-preservation. In order to do anything, you must be free. in mind, in spirit, in action. There's no, if you're not doing what you want to do at the time, the way you want to do it, you're not free. Um, so freedom is everything. It's like health. They go health in hand. Without health, there's nothing. Without freedom, there is nothing. Um, the second part of the question is, can you repeat it again, please?
What's your definition of success? Like, how do you know that you're successful, or how would you define success for yourself
Um,
and for other brothers?
success is completion of whatever it is that you started out to do. That's success to me. There's so many levels of success, but I'll just say the bare minimum level of success is that I completed the task, whatever I set out to do. And then the reward of that's like a degree of success is someone not, yo, that was dope, yo, I heard I understood what you meant when you said this, or that last album we did is, really, that was dope. I like that joint that you did with, Leah Janae, or I like the joint you did with PA, or Blue, or whoever, or whatever. That's success, knowing that what I wrote in my room or wrote on my phone has taken me around the globe. The understanding, what I'm saying? That's understanding completion. But then this degree of success of actually waking up and hearing your Cash App ring because, or your PayPal's going off because a lot of people bought your album, and that's success too. Oh, the light bill's getting paid today, that degree. So there's many forms of it.
So many wins, big or small, doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
The all, like you said, the all. Um,
Absolutely.
right now with this pandemic, everybody, right? Not everybody, but a lot of people are pivoting and repositioning themselves, and also reevaluating their lives. What advice would you give as far as, I guess, a blueprint or breadcrumbs, or just words of advice to somebody trying to figure out their path and where to go next? What is like something that you would tell them, if that makes sense, if they're gonna like change direction?
Listen to Live from the Whirlwind, my album. That's what you need to do. Like, that's
Boom.
that it's a whirlwind. There is no set way to do. What works for me may not necessarily work for anybody else. I'm a person of extreme principle, and I like to take, and I'm not scared to walk the razor's edge. I'll take that risk definitely. But no risk, no reward. So I would just say, yo, trust your inner voice, not the celebrity, not the person on TV, not this. Yo, go outside and feel what's correct to yourself, and then move accordingly. That's all I can tell you, because what works for me will not work for somebody else, G.
And the second part of the question, this is what I forgot. Where you are in your career, what would you tell an artist, an independent artist trying to come up and do this? Because a lot of people are saying, all right, let me give myself a chance now. I'm locked in, have a little money, let me try this. What advice would you give for somebody that wants to get to where like you are in your career right now?
Be willing to go through peaks and valleys. Be willing to invest continuously. Have knowledge. Apply one of the five pillars of hip hop: knowledge. Yo, study your craft and know thy craft, man. How can I get money in so many different ways? How do I get paid off my publishing, royalties, song placement, whatever it is? It's not just record. Recording is the easiest part. That's nothing. It's about how do I marketing. Know that marketing 101, your .com is your website. Marketing 101, excuse me, your .com is your record label, I meant to say. That's your record label. Now, having the best music in the world and no one knows where to go get it it's a horrible situation. So marketing is important. Invest in marketing. Put that in your mind when you get ready to record this album. How am I going to get this? All right, album's done, artwork's done, got the CDs in my hand, got the song written. Now, how do I get it to the people? Or how do I get the people to know that I have it? Ultra important.
And that you are the brand, you are the company, things like that.
You are the bag. You are the quote unquote
In
bag.
the business,
You
yeah.
are the bag. You are the bag. Seriously. Tap into, like, yo, all right, I'm
And know
not
your
watching
worth.
TV. Yeah, I'm not watching TV or going anywhere till I finish knowing how to, or that's just me. Like I said, what works for me, I don't know because my formula may not be, he might just put one song up and shoot off. This climate is different. It's not like before. You got to take, I don't say you got to, but I like to take a little bit from what was before and now, and then mix that up and then move forward.
Create something for the future. I know. I think it is important what you said about investing. I think many people um, forget about the importance of putting money into themselves because the
Absolutely.
old what's it called? The old way that the industry worked was let me put out a demo, let me
Hmm.
go shop, and then again,
Hmm.
the record label's gonna quote unquote take care of me and put this big machine behind me. Those days are
Absolutely.
done. But I
Done,
think
done,
it's
done.
hard. Dun dun dun. DUN. Dun dun dun. When dun dun dun. The thing is, I think though too, when you have quote unquote jobs and they take care of you and you have your salary, I think it's still hard to understand. Like, no, I gotta put this money in here. I have to do that, and I think it limits people even when they have a great product. This thing of I go somewhere and then I'm gonna receive something from it instead of what I need to take out for myself, put in for myself, then push it and then hope for the return, not hope for the return, but wait for the return down the line and not instant gratification every 2 weeks. I think that is very important for brothers to understand. Sisters too.
Sacrifice and delegation, man. When you get a big chunk of money from this art, you might get a nice check. Learn to stretch it. That's the most. Learn to stretch it. Learn to allocate what trickles to what to what. Don't just be thinking, oh, I got a big check this month and I got a big check last month, but the month coming up you might get zero. Nothing might even be happening. So just be smart with your money. Be smart with your art. Elohkush.com, man, my website. Go there. The support, streaming is cool, but go there and buy direct. You know what I'm saying? Even if you have the streaming, download the album. I'm an artist. So there is no 9 to 5 for me. There's a eyes open, the eyes closed, and while my eyes closed, hopefully it's still going. Like support great music, support great indie artists with substance. Like let's uh let's have platforms like this and others that don't support this black devil murder death kill music all the time. Like planned there's a plan. I'm not saying like I don't like certain music. I like all forms of music, but there's a planned objective to continuously have us in a state of mind of destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there consistently
Self
um
destruction.
yeah, bro, like yo, there's always this demonic music and there's these whack ass, excuse my language, but whack obsession with European style dressing and European style artwork, like this, like the Renaissance artwork and taking I mean, salute to Griselda because they did it first, West Side Gun in them, but then everything after that is duck duck goose, man, with originality, G. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this overly obsession with death, or just the one side of I'll have my youngins do this and I'll shoot the 30, but you're not talking about what happens after that. That
Mm-hmm.
cold, like let's eradicate that message so much. I can't only can stay do what I do and carve my lane. Yes, there's violence everywhere. Yes, I'm from where it's very wild, but you don't always hear that in my music. If you from the element, you don't have to continuously, promote, propagate what you know what I'm saying, like violate and find out what happens. But that's the very last thing I want to occur. I want to be able to tell you like, yo, it's not, it's not, it's not nothing, anything to be proud of. 500 people got shot in 2 weeks in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, man. or or the murder rate in Philly right now is astronomical. We're the only genre of music that can not have an event and something doesn't happen. Like it doesn't happen all the time, but yo, why are people surprised when the artist that you booking to get on stage, every song's about murder, death, kill, and then when something that energy is promoted in the air, and those people that are deviants of that type of state of mind and living, and they show up, what the hell are you so surprised about? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so that's how I feel.
They need to make a rap song that says "I shoot you in the face and then I'm gonna be eating spreads for the next 60 years to life." You
Absolutely.
know, put that
And
part in there.
absolutely. And
Put the part in
I'm
there that I'll never see my kids grow up. Put the part in there
right.
that now my family's gonna starve.
My
You know,
woman's with
add
somebody
the
else.
real part.
I'm right. My woman's now with somebody else after the 5th year. I am now, after all this tough talking, no guns and all that. Now I am somebody else's woman in jail because I don't have 50 people with me, and I really got to defend myself for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and then also let's talk about. I mean, without being too preachy and anything, but just saying like, yo, there's no more time to sugarcoat anything. So let's talk about the other side of that shit. Like, who's getting
Yeah.
rich off that message? Who's really profiting off that message? And also the person that you had shot and did all this shit for, that's a destruction in their family. You create another
Hmm.
void. This shit is purposeful. Things happen all over the ghetto in the world. I'm not being naive to anything. Like I said, I'm from the element, but at the same science of that is like, yo, have some culture about yourself. These people that's playing on these blogs and playing this music, and they're not the
Hmm.
hue of you and I that really own. I'm not talking about the DJs, and I'm talking about the people who own the situation and saying this music gets put forth. Only this music gets played at a majority of rate, 6 o'clock, all day,
The program
repetitive.
directors.
Even but the program directors, they take a message from the higher up. You know what I'm saying? They take a message from someone else saying these records get played with this message continuously played with this murder, death, kill mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like shit is not by mistake, G.
Because most of those executives are stockholders in the prison system. They
Absolutely.
they
Prison
own
industrial
these.
complex.
Yeah, they
Absolutely.
own these private prisons. They
Talk that shit.
profit. They profit from that. So
They're, mm,
um,
they're
and
talking
again, it
themselves right
goes.
into them.
Yeah, it goes back to the question. The question of how much are you willing to sacrifice for the bag?
Exactly. You are the bag, so you're sacrificing yourself because when you die or you go to prison, who's making that money? Who's really making that money off of you? You know what I'm saying? Like what
Mhm.
percentage do you control? And it correlates with the message. It goes hand in hand. Like, the obsession. I never understood the well, let me not say that. I always understood, but I never seen the reason into actually it's cool to be the jail scene in video. Like, ain't shit cool about that. Like, you're rapping and the prison guards got you and you're walking through the jail. That shit is all supposed to be. It's initiated conversation from the gate. You signed this. I want this in your scene. I want you to talk about this and go down. I think it's I think it's sad that we glorify the things that's the most horrific to us. Jail
Yeah,
is not a badge of honor. Jail is not you to get no respect unless you're on the political side, fighting for your people and doing some shit like that, bragging about going to jail or why you were in jail. Shit, son, like it's embarrassing. If you're a crimey, that's the worst part. You got caught, huh? Like you know what I'm saying? Like hell no, there's nothing cool about that.
it's almost people talk about shaming people. But I am so old school. I think a certain amount of shame is damn good. It
Absolutely.
keeps you from doing shit that is just stupid. I've never been in an era where, at least even when crack hit, nobody was just out there saying I sell crack. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
You
right,
found out somebody sold crack, but wasn't nobody advertising it because
right. It wasn't you should be embarrassed about you destruction of your own
Dry
people. And
snitching.
yeah. This is the
Yeah,
era.
you should be embarrassed
Totally
by
the.
that.
This is totally
Nobody
the
was
era.
nobody was uplifting the drug dealer.
No, that's why it was always done in the area where it was dark, shady, very quiet. But also, this is the era of no couth too. You know what I'm saying? The more you show, the more you're known. You know what I'm saying? Like the more like you're
Mhm.
proud
More
to brag of.
outlandish.
Even the women, even our women are. Yo, it's crazy, man. How a lot, not let me say, some of the women. Let me articulate myself correctly. Some of the women have this sick obsession of like, it's like, yo, it's over sexualized. Then the men, the era that's coming up now, a lot of that is you don't know if you have your sister's clothes on or are those your clothes because I can't tell. I see men wearing purses. You know what I'm saying? That's not us. That's European style dressing. And these labels and this clothing, they don't even want our people in their clothing at all. They don't Balenciaga. The value goes down. It doesn't even look right on our people. That's why it looks. You know what I'm saying? It's not made for the original man. You know what I'm saying? Like, go
And
ahead, like do the.
it's
You
another
know?
way of taking money out of the community because I know when I was growing up, we had black designers in the community that would put up
Right.
their clothes, and
Walker
then
wear.
you had Sean
Walker
John,
wear.
and you had
Walker
you
wear.
yeah, you
Carl
know,
Mm-hmm.
Kanai, cross
Carl
cutters,
Kanai, you had stuff that was
Mark Buchanan.
made for us,
Fubu.
in our style that kept our money in our communities. And this all of a sudden, then everybody wanted to wear red bottom shoes and Prada and
Legacy. Yeah,
Balenciaga, and
yeah,
half
yeah,
of
yeah.
them can't even pronounce what most of that shit is. So
I,
I I,
it's a plague.
I don't know how to reel that back in,
You
because
can't
now it has gotten it has gotten so out of hand that people are spending their rent
on a belt.
for a Prada bag.
Three
A belt
thousand
and some
dollar,
jeans.
5,000 bag.
I would just say this. I would just say this again. To each his own, in whatever way you choose to do what you do. But that's poison. Just like the way I just think there's so much coming at us in so many different ways, and I'm not the crusader
Mhm.
of anything, but I'm just saying that, yo, it's a when you recognize the agenda and you really see it and you see the effect, they're coming after babies. They try to destroy us through music, through food, through straight up murder, to try to outbreed us, and they can't stop, but now they focusing on the babies. If the babies don't know that they don't know that they don't know, we lost. They're gonna grow up in a sick mind state. You know what I'm saying? Like, but there's
Mhm.
there's some of the babies that's totally aware and ready to say no. No one wants. I just think that's why my music is the way it is because I try to show you, but not. Oh, I guess the best way is to say it is like the Blast Master said, is edutainment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God hop music. Like I want to say something. I come from the era like if you opened your mouth, you said something. It wasn't just like. And how many times can you tell a person you're gonna shoot like the music and just like the artistry, like the people like they're taking pictures with their middle finger up to the camera all the time. Like, what is that? I'm not buying your music. Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, at least that's me.
Or
Yeah.
gun triggers and gun
Yeah,
fingers.
yeah, man. Like, what are you shooting me for? I'm trying to give you $15 for your album and shit. But
And I feel the same way about on the female side. I kind of know how vaginas work. I don't need you to keep telling me how
thank
yours
you,
works.
thank you.
Just
That's all you got.
say something else. Do
That,
anything else.
that's all they
I don't
got,
care if
though.
you talk about how good Captain Crunch is. Just say something other than talking about your vagina. I get it.
That's it,
I
yo.
got it the first 15 songs.
I got it the
I
first
got it.
song. The first song I got it totally. I mean, that's all I got. I promise you, I understand what it'll do to me, what I need to do to get it, how it
Yeah,
feels, all this. But that's all part of the agenda too. That's it. Like it's prostitution and pimping. That's all a different way of it. You know what I'm saying? This I don't know, man. You know, the best thing, like I say, man, go listen to Live from the Whirlwind. Check Eloh Kush's catalog. That's what let's you know, like it's too
yeah.
yeah.
And
Elohkush.com. That's where you go get it at.
and purchase the music that you want to hear.
Yes, sir.
I say this every show, and I'm going to keep saying it until I see an uptick in these independent artists getting the shine that they deserve, because everybody complains about the music, but nobody's investing in the artists that are putting out the music that you say you want to hear. So if
Right.
you say you want to hear it, then
Right.
invest in it. Make sure that you
Totally.
have these artists back, because all of this costs money. And if
Hmm.
people are putting out quality product, then you should. It shouldn't be, I'm gonna wait till this go on sale for 30% off. No,
Ah, support that.
pay people's
Support that.
price. You if you can
Totally.
buy a Balenciaga bag and you don't try to bargain with them, then don't bargain with your own. Pay the price.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Support the artists. Support great independent artists. Because these big artists that's millionaires or front like they're millionaires or $100,000 a year, whatever they are, yo, you all on their page leaving messages and everybody has a free will to do whatever they want. Support the great independent artists who, like, if you really buy their, know that when you purchase something from me, that's helping me to get through to the next stage of creativity and also way of life. When you spend $15 with me, that's helping. May not be, or $20 with me, it's helping to add on to what I need to do. But I understand that my purpose is to plant seeds in the field and let them blossom later or now, blossom years later. So
I I wanna tip my hat to you, because there are few artists in the quote unquote underground scene or the boom bap hip hop scene that do this full time. And you said that boldly, and I respect that, because it's very few people that are able to do what they want to do on their terms and
true.
sustain themselves. Again, quote Marcus Garvey, self-reliance,
Son
organize,
Savior.
centralize, and capitalize. You have done that, and you use the brothers and sisters and whoever's around you. You utilize them in that human equity and actually use that to advance yourself. Then you're also spitting knowledge and lyrics to help grow people that you probably can't even reach physically in front of a stage. So I just tip my hat to all of that.
Thank you, brother.
The last you welcome,
And
and the last.
just to cut in before you finish that, just to cut in before you finish that. Not only did you utilize them, but you picked them up. That is the biggest thing, that you didn't just selfishly take, you gave back what you got. So
Absolutely.
that to me is everything.
That's
He
dope.
added
I
on. He
appreciate
added
that. I
on.
appreciate the platform too. The platform where we can actually have great artists come on and independent artists and speak to great people who are not just there for a second.
Want to say, like, you find it so important about words, sound, and power, quoting the great Peter Tosh. Like, I see how important that is to you, and he's one of the few that I see really embody that and verbalize that a lot about the power of words, sound, and power. You know what I'm saying? That was the name of his band, and that's what he stood for. And I see that with the way, not to compare you to Peter Tosh, but I see how important you find and how much you value the word and your words and what you do, and you use it to edify people, and I just highly respect that, Eloh Kush. That's what I want to say. Give you your
Yeah,
flowers.
I respect that, G. I respect that. I I just want to say, because of my family obligations, my niece, I want to say thank you for having me on the platform. Thank you both for having me on the great platform that you have, and the interview and the actual in-depth questions. And I want everybody that sees this to go check out elohkush.com and go to my Bandcamp and buy the album directly from there, or go to elohkush.com and just buy the album off Bandcamp there. Stream it, support it. The newest project out is Live from the Whirlwind. You also have 15 other different albums to check out. My catalog is pretty good, extensive. Go check those albums out. Go backwards, go forward. Support great art. Support this platform, even when if I'm, whatever guest is on here, and keep striving for perfection whatever that you do.
That is so dope. I want to thank you for giving us your time. It it is a sense of dedication that we had some technical difficulties last time, and you came back.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
that means everything.
Finish the job. Finish the job,
We
Now we got birthday. Now we got birthday obligations. You gotta go
Yeah,
we
again.
man. Yeah. Which means money gotta get spent.
we truly appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Um, all of his information will be in the description. We're gonna make it easy for you. You don't gotta look for it. All you gotta do is press the link. I'm gonna put them in the description.
Word to God.
Um,
Happy birthday to your niece.
happy
Thank you.
birthday to your niece. Thank you everyone for joining us for Powerful Impact. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let Eloh Kush know that we all support him. If you need anything, anytime you want to come back, this platform is open for you. We just appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and I can't wait to hear what comes up next.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Peace to
And
man, woman, and child.
peace.
All
And
right.
Blue, we
Peace.
brought Eloh. Blue, we brought John Robinson. Blue, we sending out the Batman symbol for you, brother.
All right.
Peace, Eloh. God bless.
Peace.
Peace.